Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth Ham and I offer writing tips as well as encouragement to writers and aspiring authors, as well as share a little bit about my grief story and offer tips and encouragement to those who are grieving or going through a hard time. If that sounds like something that you would like, go ahead and click subscribe to my channel, and also hit the little bell too, because you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. I upload a video every week, so you can be sure to see that. I was doing 2 a week, but I found that that was too much to keep up with, as well as work a full-time job and write and all the other creative stuff. So I will be uploading every Wednesday. I believe that will be my schedule from here on out. If that changes, then I will let you know. So without further ado, let's get started. To do a tag. This tag was originally created by Bethany Atazadeh and Brooke Passmore, and the name of this tag is the Story Idea Writing Tag. And because I don't have a phenomenal memory, I didn't sit down and memorize this entire script. I will be looking down to read the questions and then answer these impromptu. I think it's better that way, as if I was being interviewed, or you were watching an interview. So I'm just going to answer off the top of my head. So number 1 of the Story Idea Writing Tag, current story. What is your current story idea that you're working on right now? Well, for this, my current story idea that is creative would be my historical fiction. And that is something that I am currently working on at the moment. Number 2, what is or spark of inspiration? Do your ideas begin with characters, plot, word building, or something else entirely? My ideas range, and most of the time I will come up with just a generalized idea, story idea, and then I will choose the characters and then the word building. Once in a while, when I do write like fan fiction, the characters are already there, but my favorite thing to do with that is alternate universe, take the characters from a favorite TV show or movie and put them in a completely different scenario than the show. Number 3, brainstorm. How do you puzzle piece your story elements together? Do you start with the ending and maybe make your way to the beginning, or vice versa? I definitely do not start at the ending, and here's why. When I write a story, I can plot and plan all I want, but somewhere along the way, the story changes. I do have a generalized idea of how I want a specific storyline to end. But for me to write the ending and then go back to the beginning and piece them together, to me, I feel it defeats the purpose of creative writing. Everyone does things differently and their own way. There is no right or wrong way. But to me, I would rather start from the beginning, have a general idea of how I want to end it, and go from there. Number 4, keep or toss. How do you know when you want to keep or dump a story idea? This is a very good question. I can go back to my historical fiction novel. I first started writing this out back in 2013, and I was very excited about it, but then I became discouraged because I felt like I wasn't good enough to actually be an author and have this thing published. And when I gave it to a friend, she told me that it was great, but it was missing so many things. There were holes in the story plot. So I put it aside and rewrote it the next year, only to have the same thing happen. Well, recently I gave it to somebody and they told me that it just wasn't, it was good, but there was just something missing from it. And I was a little bit discouraged. And honestly, I wanted to toss this thing, but I had put so much work into this, and this was something that kept nagging on me in the back of my mind. I want to put this out there. I need to put this out there. So I was going to toss it, but I decided not to. I really don't have any stories that I have tossed. There have been some that I've put off on the back burner and brought up when the time was right. So as of right now, I haven't really tossed any story ideas. Original idea. This is number 5. How much of your original idea for your story is actually used once everything is finished? Okay, this goes along with the previous question. For this original idea, the historical fiction, there is probably, I would say, 50% of it will be tossed, because I have a whole other story idea that will tie in with the original. So I would say 50-50 with this particular novel. Number 6, hide or share. Do you share your book ideas with friends or keep them a secret? With this, I have learned the hard way not to talk about my story ideas with friends who don't write, who really just aren't creative, or their mind isn't there, because sometimes they'll just nod and be like, oh, that's nice, or really, or it's not that they've been unsupportive, they just don't get it. I don't know how to say it. I do have supporting friends, though. I have friends who know that I write, and they do support that aspect, but I don't sit with them and talk to them about that. But I have been blessed with writing friends, and those writing friends, I have one in particular that I run stories by all the time, and she is phenomenal. She actually will ask me questions to get me to think, and actually get the juices flowing, the creative juices flowing, and the next thing you know, like, I have told her this entire story that I wouldn't have thought of to begin with. So there's that. Number 7, dream. Have any of your book ideas originated from a dream or nightmare? Yes, I have one in particular that's on the back burner that came from a dream. And I wrote this down, and I even wrote out probably a good 2,000 words to it. And yes, it came from a very vivid dream. And this dream was so absurd to me that I had to put it into a story. And it will end up being a, I would say, fantasy / dystopian young adult novel. So, yeah. Number 8, doppelganger. Have you ever had an idea for a story but then see a similar premise in a book, TV show, or movie? This goes back to my creative writing, short stories / fan fiction. Yes, I have. I have had stories that were similar to one that I have seen, or I come up with this idea and then I realize that a fellow writer has already written this idea, and I've reached out to them and I said, this is my idea. I am so sorry. If you do not want me to write this, I won't. And she has so graciously said, Liz, everyone writes things differently. You will have a different take on this. Don't let it bother you. You aren't stealing. I know you're not stealing. As for other things, no TV show or movie has, been the exact same as an idea, so far anyways. Number 9, big screen inspiration. Have any of your favorite movies, TV shows, or books sparked ideas for scenes in your book? I would say when I watched the movie Lincoln, I was so inspired after watching that particular movie that I went directly to a writing session and I just began writing. being able to watch some historical happenings during the Civil War really sparked a lot of interest in me. I don't know why that was my favorite part in history, except that I liked Abraham Lincoln, and I liked the aspect how we fought against each other, even though I don't condone fighting and all of that. But, you know, how our country was divided and how we came to work, you know, we won and we came to an agreement and we were no longer separated. So I would say that particular movie did spark a lot of inspiration. I don't think that I copied anything from the movie or any other Civil War movie into my book. And as I write it, I don't know if I will. But I do get inspired by particular movies when I write. Number 10, nostalgia. What's the oldest first story idea you remember coming up with or writing down? I would have to say, I think I was 11 or 12, and I wrote this book, the short story / book, and I kind of, back then, it wasn't really known as fan fiction. I changed the names of the characters, and I kind of put them in the same setting as this particular story series. If you're familiar with Lois Gladys Leopard, she wrote the Mandy series. Amanda Shaw was raised by her father until he passed away, and then she went to live with her rich mother. Now, her father lived in the mountains of, I think it was North Carolina, if I remember, and she grew up in a simple life in a cabin, and she knew that she was part Native American. Well, then she was thrown into a whole new world with her mother, who grew up wealthy. She had everything handed to her. She was placed in boarding school. So it was like from one culture to the next. And this whole entire series was a kind of like she was always getting into trouble, always solving a mystery, never listening to those who were over her, and as well as tied in the history of the Native Americans. Well, I loved that series. From the first time my parents gave me that, I loved it. And so I sat down and I wrote, quote unquote, fan fiction for it, but changed the names of the characters. And it was awful. To this day, I have it on a tape that you would listen to. I listened to it and it was awful. It was dramatic. I gave it to an editor who was an actual editor for a private paper, and she told me it was dramatic. She gave me no encouragement whatsoever, and for the longest time I thought I was a terrible writer, when in all reality I was only 11 and 12, and I had a lot to learn in the English language and story building. So yeah, there's that. So I'm really happy that this tag came up so we can get to know each other a little better. I want to tag 3 people. I will put their name and their links to their channels below. The first one I want to tag is Jennifer Ann Reed. Second is Nina V. Rye, and the third is Haley Bascom. I will, like I said, I will put their names and their channels below. I will also link below the questions in case you would like to do this tag. If you weren't tagged, that's okay. This is how we get this tag out there and learn how everyone comes up with their story ideas. So thank you to Bethany Atazadeh and Brooke Passmore for this tag. So that concludes this part of the video. If you liked this content, go ahead and hit like, because it helps me with my channel and being able to create more videos with information like this and help and stuff like that. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribed. You can see below in the links below where you can follow me on social media, where you can get to know me a little bit better. And in the comments below, go ahead and, say me, or, comment if you plan on doing this tag. I want to know how many of you are going to do this tag. I'm excited to do it. I want to go and watch yours and support you. Go ahead and spread the word along, and let's get this tag going. Until next time, keep writing.